What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Good Friday morning, everybody. Good Friday morning, TGIF, baby. For those that it applies that have the weekend off, good for you. But hey, man, here we are. And listen, we go try to do this every day, but there's really nothing to talk about every day. And we warned when we first started doing this that, hey, we may not do it every day because we don't want to make things up. And there's just things that I just don't enjoy talking about. But now we have a few things. We had the GM meetings go on this past week that are now have wrapped up. We had the MLB awards banquet last night. This has given the media access to, people that we want to hear from, people that were wondering what they're thinking, how they're doing, and so on and so forth, and which direction we may be going if we can get any clues, right? But they're not going to tell us exactly what they're thinking. They're not going to tell us exactly what they're going to do, but we can read between the lines and so on and so forth. Well, we heard a lot from David Stearns. I think he did maybe three or four different pressers. He did a one-on-one with Martino. He did a one-on-one on MLB Network with Brian Kenny. He did just a scrum with all the media. I think he did two of those, and then we had an article. At least that I seen, the one to have an article is Laura Albanese in the New York Newsday, where she spoke to Edwin Diaz and Juan Soto. And it was some pretty interesting thing, at least in my opinion, that came out of that article. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read it along with everybody. I hope they don't mind. I hope they don't mind. And here it is. Again, Laura Albanese, great. I would love to have her on Blunt Thoughts one day. I'm actually gonna try to reach out, see if we get that done. Um, but here it is. There may and listen, we'll skip through some. We're not gonna read all of it because I don't even know if that's right. There may be no more fitting illustration of the Mets' volatile offseason than its current star advocating for the return of two free agents and its potentially departing star noting that though he'd like to return to Flushing, the chances are 50-50. And she's talking again about Juan Soto, who is asking for the return of obviously Pete Alonso. And maybe surprising, but not really too surprising, the return of Starling Marte. And we know him and Marte built a bond. And we know that Marte became important and instrumental in the little camaraderie, if there was any, in the clubhouse that existed. And it took a while for it to get there. And it took a while, some pushing from Marte of Juan Soto to get more involved with the team and so on and so forth. But here it goes. Here's some of the quotes. Let's see. Again, Soto said he would like to reunite with Pete and Diaz, but she goes, as for Diaz, the closer said the priority was just to get the best deal for my family. Now, I talked about how, listen, if Diaz is going to opt out, and after he opted out, it's because he felt it was his duty for his family, his duty for baseball, because he was advised to by his agent, because the Players Association is probably pushing him to do it, and so on and so forth. Well, here we are. Just get the best deal for my family. I love New York. I would love to stay in New York, but if I have to go another place, I would be happy. I want to win a ring. So wherever I go, I want to win a ring and enjoy the time. As of now, it's 50-50 when asked if he believes a return to the Mets is likely. This is what gets me, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't talked about a deal, about anything. We just met a little bit. I just want to see what happens in free agency. That's interesting. First of all, I don't like why haven't we spoken about a deal with Edwin Diaz? I'm sorry. Edwin Diaz should have been approached during the season about an extension. There's no reason that you wouldn't want to bring Edwin Diaz back. When Edwin Diaz says, I want to see what happens in free agency, why? It's a different tone than we heard from Edwin Diaz last time, right? When that extension was done quickly. Is it because Edwin Diaz and his representation know that if they don't do this now, they'll never get any more money from David Stearns? Is it just talk, because you got to let it be known out there that I'm willing to go somewhere else to put the pressure on David Stearns? I'm sure there's some of that. I'm sure there's some of that. But again, how much is it like not feeling the love from David Stearns or being a little afraid that you may not be able to get the love from David Stearns if you don't do this now? And if you don't act like you're willing to walk away. I like the team, he said. I like the organization. You know, if they came with the best deal for me, I'd enjoy to stay with them. But at the end of the day, I don't know what they're thinking. And again, this is something that I keep saying. And I said it with Pete. I thought the man should have went and offered Pete an extension and tried not to get to this point. And everybody's like, oh, why would you do that? When Steve Cohen could just pay these guys money. Because sometimes it's a little bit more than money. Sometimes guys want to feel the love. Why couldn't David Stearns have gone to Edwin Diaz and say, hey, Edwin, we know you're up for opt-out. We know that is the right thing for you to do. We know you probably want to go out there and see what's out there. But we want you back. What would it take? What is there to be so afraid of? Maybe you don't take that tact with Pete because of Scott Boras, but that's not Edwin Diaz representation. And it's always been a good relationship I felt with the Mets and Edwin Diaz. And I'm not saying it's a bad one now. I'm just saying I don't like the way things are handled right now. But hey, we are also known as a family organization, right? And they've done all these things to make these guys feel at home and their families feel at home. But sometimes you got to show the guy himself that you're into him and not just his family, if that makes any sense. We'll see how it plays out. You know, there's already been talk about the Dodgers maybe pursuing Edwin Diaz. He talks about wanting to win. Hey, can the Dodgers bring him in and bring guys in and make him feel to a point where even he's willing to take deferrals to go there? Oh, my. Let's be honest. Right now, there's no better place to go if you're really trying to win than the Dodgers. I know as Mets fans, we want to say it's the Mets. The Mets. But we haven't quite gotten there yet. Now, let's see. Let's move on to the other guy here. We don't want to do this too long. Juan Soto again, who advocated for Pete Alonso and Starlin Marte. As Laura says, Soto advocated for the return of his two teammates for tangible and intangible reasons. He's the top of the league with his power, Soto said of Alonso. He's one of the best power hitters of this generation. I really enjoyed my moment with him in the Mets uniform, and I hope we can have more times to come and that we can have more fun together. Interesting. Then there is Marte, one of Soto's closest friends on the team, and quietly one of its most consistent contributors last season, even though he was 36, which is true. He hit 270, 98 in 98 games and adapted to a bench role and mentored Soto when he first joined the team. Soto said he hasn't spoken to President of Baseball Operations David Stearns about Marte, but he definitely knows what Marte brings to the table. That's a quote. So I guess he's saying Stearns definitely knows what Marte brings to the table. He's the guy any team wants to have in their clubhouse, Soto said. He's a guy who's a veteran who still can play. But the most important thing is that he can help keep the clubhouse together. Wow. Very, very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. I want to go real quick to a clip of David Stearns talking earlier in the week to Brian Kenny. Right? Let's bring that up here real quick. I want you guys to listen to the question and the answer because it pertains to this and it pertains to Juan Soto. Check it out. Again, this is MLB Network, David Stearns, Brian Kenny. Here we go.
David, I'm just wondering, we've gone over the Juan Soto season, in a lot of ways. I'm wondering, how much contact do you have, especially after year one of a mega deal? How much contact do you have with Juan about team goals, personal goals, that sort of thing in the offseason?
Yeah, we're in regular contact with Juan and with most of our players throughout the offseason. I've talked to him. Carlos Mendoza's talked to him. Other folks in our front office have talked to him. So we want to make sure that, we're certainly aware of what he's going on in the offseason. Want to ensure he understands what we're looking to do, get any feedback he has. And that's true with a number of the players on our roster. we try to stay in touch as much as possible and gather their feedback as well. It's important for it to be really a two-way street and have communication going back and forth.
It's funny now on the
Very interesting. So maybe there needs to be another conversation, right? Maybe there needs to be another conversation because Soto himself said, I haven't spoken to him about starting Marte, but he knows the importance that he brings. Well, maybe David Stern sees that quote. Oh, here's that quote because there is audio, but there was only one clip, so I didn't feel like it was worth bringing up. And it was him talking about Antoine Richardson. Almost forgot. It was him talking about Antoine Richardson and how sad he was, but how he understands it's a business and will you move on. But you've already let Antoine Richardson go, which upset him. He's talking about he wants Pete Alonso back. And we know that's very much in the air. If Diaz is 50-50, we could say Pete is 30-70 on a return. 30 being the return, 70 being not returning. And now he wants Starling Marte, who, listen, we know Starling Marte is at the end of the road. And we know that if Starling Marte is on this team, it shouldn't be as a main contributor. We had videos before we've talked about it, how, listen, I understand the clubhouse thing, but here's the deal. All we heard last offseason was Jose Iglesias talk about how he wanted to be a part of the Mets and be a part of helping Francisco Lindor lead this team. That to me was saying he needs my help. There's something going on in there. It may not be nothing big. I shouldn't say there's something going on in there. But I've said sometimes you need somebody to bring all these different personalities together. To make them all laugh about something silly. To have conversations about baseball, about life, about everything, when they maybe normally wouldn't. Jose Iglesias was that guy. And that was natural. Starling Marte grew into this. Can he continue it? Is that worth bringing back? Is it a absolutely not that Marte can come back? I don't necessarily think so. Again, I've said this before. As the 26th man on the bench, as a right-handed bat off the bench, as maybe even a pinch runner, I have no problem bringing back Starling Marte. God darn these damn phones, man. But we're going to see. I've said this before. This is a pivotal and very important offseason for the New York Mets and David Stearns to see what direction he takes. He is a star player that they bring in last year. And you still have Francisco Lindor there, who seemed to God that everything was being built around. Now you have another guy here. Now you got to find a way to build around both these guys and try to find a way to make them both happy. Doesn't mean you can see to everything they want. But you need to be smart in what you do and what you don't. It's going to be very interesting how this goes down. It's going to be very interesting how this goes down. It's going to be very interesting the path that David Stearns takes. And will he finally get out of that comfort zone that I'm pretty sure you guys are tired of hearing me talk about? But we're going to keep talking about until we see him do it. Well, these things will be very much out of his comfort zone. Paying an older veteran, which I don't think it would take much to bring Marte back. Bringing back Pete probably for more years than he would like to. And the same with Edwin Diaz. Oh boy, oh boy. Well, enjoy your Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your weekend. Very excited. We should have Super Fan Edition back on Sunday night. One that we're going to have to revisit that was postponed last Sunday with the homie Skills. And we may get other stuff popping up. We may finally even do a Twitter space, an X space. But anyways, for now, enjoy your Friday. Be safe out there. Have a good weekend if we don't speak. And as always, let's go Mets, baby. Peace.
Full of animals and we made ourselves with minimal. Fuck you, no subliminals. Putting in this work, nigga. That's why they feelings hurt, nigga. Swear we need a hearse cause we rep our shites to the dirt, nigga. If I'm in the club.